think of Washington agriculture, they often picture wheat fields, apple orchards, or rolling vineyards. But along the wild West Coast, farming has always looked a little different. Shaped by salt water, rain, and the thin line where forest meets tide flat. Here, the story of agriculture begins not just on land, but in the water. For countless generations, indigenous communities along the coast relied on shellfish as an essential food source, especially the native Olympia oyster, which once flourished in places like Willapa Bay and southern Puget Sound. Long before roads or rail, the coast shellfish beds were a living pantry, harvested, traded, and sustained through deep knowledge of seasons and place. Then, in the mid-1800s, a growing non-native population and booming demand down the coast helped turn oysters into big business. Shipments of Washington oysters to San Francisco began as early as the 1850s, tying coastal tidelands to West Coast markets. By the late 1800s and into the 1900s, growers experimented, expanded, and adapted, introducing new techniques and even new oyster varieties as the industry faced cycles of boom, decline, and reinvention. Today, Washington remains a powerhouse in oyster culture, with Willapa Bay still one of the most iconic names in American shellfish.
I think one of the things that make Washington shellfish so special is that it's a unique environment. Not a lot of people have the nutritious sounds like we do. It just grows a really amazing quality product.
Washington's got a great reputation. It's kind of, internationally, it's the clean green state. And so our shellfish are prized for that fact that, they're produced in these pristine waters, and it's just that emblematic clean green that gets us a premium demand and price for our shellfish. They're definitely prized throughout the world.
Not far from the surf, another kind of coastal farming took root, literally. Cranberries thrive in acidic, peat-rich soil and wet conditions, and the Washington coast offers exactly that. On the Long Beach Peninsula, commercial cranberry harvesting began in 1883, using vines imported from New Jersey. Cranberries didn't just become a crop, they became a culture, especially in places like Ilwaco and Grayland, where growers built their lives around the rhythm of bogs, water, and harvest. In 1914, the Ilwaco Cranberry Company incorporated, reflecting how organized and ambitious the cranberry economy was becoming.
Most of the cranberries in the country are flood harvested. That was a technique that was developed during the Second World War when there was a labor shortage. They used to hand-pick them all.
Through the decades, cranberry farming remains a signature coastal industry, one that still defines the landscape each fall when the bogs turn into pools of floating red. But coastal agriculture didn't stop at shellfish and berries. In Pacific County, dairy farms were established on stump farms in the hills after the trees were logged, a reminder that on the coast, farming often meant rebuilding soil and livelihoods from the leftovers of timber. By the mid-1900s, dairy had become a serious part of the coastal economy. In 1950, there were about 150 dairy farms in Pacific County. And even as farm numbers later declined, production increased as operations consolidated and modernized. And of course, where you have dairy and cattle, you have feed, especially hay, one of Washington's long-running agricultural mainstays. Hay has been harvested in Washington since early settlement, and it remains a key crop because it underpins so much of the livestock economy. Put it all together, and the coast tells a unique agricultural story. Food grown in tidewater and freshwater, in bogs and pastures, shaped by rain, by salt, and by resilience.